Hi, what's up everybody? Welcome to FoundFlix. On this Ending Explained, we're looking at the latest entry in the sprawling Halloween saga, Halloween Kills, where the nightmare isn't over as Michael Myers escapes from Laurie's trap to continue his bloodbath. Laurie, along with other survivors in town, form a mob to hunt down Michael and end his reign of terror once and for all. But of course they won't succeed since there's still a third movie to come. Well, that's probably the biggest issue with Halloween Kills. It feels more perfunctory than anything else. It doesn't really add much to the overall story, just kind of biding its time until the inevitable finale. You know, the best trilogies make it so each entry stands on its own and actually helps build the story throughout, and that simply is not the case here. Compared to Halloween 18, this is definitely a big step down, and the Rotten Tomatoes score's sharp decline illustrates this as well. Oddly, I initially dismissed the first as being a safe Force Awakens style remix of the original film, and yet after rewatching it after Kills, I came to appreciate it a lot more. There's just a lot of odd choices made in Kills, like even setting it on the same night as 18, I guess just because the original Halloween 2 did the same, and it superficially has elements from that with the hospital setting, and then the town turning to vigilante justice is straight out of 4. But this treats things very seriously, dealing with the trauma of Mikey and how it affects the town, as well as being a critique of mob justice. It just feels very heavy-handed and potentially out of place for a Halloween movie, although there is some unintentional hilarity to be had here, especially in the town's rallying cry of "Evil dies tonight" that takes over to a ludicrous degree. And again, we know better, evil ain't dying tonight, chumps! Okay, so I'm not here to just gripe about things, I promise. And it's not like horror movies are necessarily known for being well written, you know? And if nothing else, it's still exciting to have Myers back on the big screen, kind of our last remaining titan of classic horror. Purely from a slasher standpoint, Halloween Kills certainly lives up to its namesake, with the most copious and brutal kills in the entire franchise. On that aspect, it does succeed with flying colors. Of course, the plot really is just Mikey walking across town and killing anyone along the way, and that's it. But regardless, the kills are still top-notch. With all that said, let's head back to Halloween Night 2018 in Haddonfield, picking up right where we left off with our unstoppable killer, where we're breaking down the story, what we learn about Mikey this time and how he works, you know, just how does this old man keep coming back to life and everything, as well as explaining the ending, and what we know so far about next year's Halloween Ends. And oh yeah, we'll get some insights from our very special guest, Michael Myers himself. Hey, thanks for coming, buddy. Okay, great. That's definitely a Halloween 2 mask, right? Okay, just checking, looks a little different. You probably got a closet full of those things, I would imagine. Alright, stick around because I got some questions for you, bud. In case you're in need of a quick refresher of where we left things off, since this new series ignores everything except the first entry, after a quite busy night back in 1978 murdering some kids, Michael has been holed up in the Smiths Grove psychiatric facility for 40 years. That is until Halloween in 2018, where thanks to a chance escape during a transfer, the killer is set loose upon the town once again. His new doctor, Dr. Sartain, turned out to be more of an accomplice than anything else, and it's actually him that drives Mikey to Laurie's compound. Meaning it was also him obsessed with reuniting Mikey with Laurie after all these years, not Michael. He does not give a shit about her. There's no sister angle or the niece or any of that stuff. He's just killing everything he comes across. No personal motivation whatsoever. Luckily, Laurie has been kind of hoping for this day to come and has erected a survival compound in wait for him. With 3 generations of the Strodes working together, they trap Michael down in the basement and set the entire house ablaze before fleeing to safety. They then hitch a ride, confident that they've destroyed Mikey once and for all. But even in our last glimpse at the flaming basement, the killer has already vanished. So yeah, of course he's still alive. How else are we gonna have a movie anyway? Apparently he just hides in a little closet available down there. No big deal, just got his mask a little crispy. On that same night of bloodshed, we catch up with Cameron, who kind of just disappeared in 18. Already stretching disbelief, somehow miraculously Officer Hawkins has survived his previous encounter with Michael. He's still gravely injured, and Cameron calls out for help into the darkness, even though he was just on a cell phone like 10 seconds ago. Call 911, dude, the man is dying here. We got no time on our hands. We then flash back to that night in 78 and see that Hawkins, as a young rookie cop, also played a part on that fateful night in several impressively authentic but ultimately kind of pointless scenes. Though we do get a bit more insight into Myers and what first drove him to killing. The other cop was actually friends with him as a child, and while he always thought him a bit odd. There were no obvious signs of him becoming a serial killer, things like hurting animals or what have you. He was always staring out his sister's window, looking out into the small town they suspect, and then that night he just snapped out of nowhere and killed his sister. They return to the family home where he gets to jump on them, and Hawkins' nerves get the better of him as he accidentally shoots McCabe. As McCabe dies, Hawkins promises that they did get him, but yeah, not so much. Mikey doesn't get too far though. Stepping outside, Loomis is there along with an army of cops ready to take him in, filling in one little detail missing from the night in '78 at least. Back on Halloween 2018, we reunite with a group of familiar faces that each had their own terrifying encounters with Michael 40 years ago. Nurse Marion, Lindsay, Tommy, and Lonnie. As it turns out, they still carry that trauma today, meeting up every Halloween for drinks. Tommy takes the stage and shines a literal spotlight on each in the crowd as he details what they went through, which again was incredibly heavy-handed, literally shining a spotlight on their trauma. It's also one of these things too where I'm like, if it's so dadgum traumatizing, this thing from 40 years ago, why don't, I don't know, move out of town, I don't know, try to move on from that shit instead of stewing in it for decades. And guess what good it does them in the end? Well, they all get brutally killed, so not much at all. Good job. As the Strohs make it to the hospital and get Laurie into surgery, Mikey resumes his rampage of death, already impressively lifting his numbers when taking out the entire team of first responders. It also helps that they brought all kinds of fun toys for him to use, like a power saw and stuff. He's like, thanks for bringing all this cool stuff to kill you with. Man, this is gonna be a good night. Then, despite it initially seeming like Laurie's compound was secluded and far away from everything else, it's apparently in a regular-ass neighborhood as Michael goes on a death stroll through town. An older couple are his next victims, stabbing the lady in the neck with a fluorescent bulb, and then going through every knife in the kitchen on the husband before finally selecting the final blade. Geez, pretty brutal there, Mikey, and I think that's the whole point. It actually pushes the violence so far that it actually is like, whoa, this is really drawn out. I'm actually getting uncomfortable. So good job in that sense. The cowboy hat wearing sheriff and the boys in blue make it to the massacre at Laurie's, and he is several steps behind the mayhem as usual. They send out an APB to go get him. Oh, okay, will do. Word spreads quickly on the news of the two missing patients from the bus crash, and Tommy is certain that he knows what's up. Michael Myers is back. The couple think that he's out in their car, not realizing it's actually the other patient whom we briefly saw back at Smith's Grove with the umbrella. But it's way too late for rationality already, as Tommy confronts him with a bat, and he's just ready to straight up murder the dude Vigilante Justice style. No cops for me, thank you. The guy flips and peels away and winds up crashing the car nearby. Karen and Allison are questioned by the cops about the evening, which makes a lot of sense. We're here asking questions while this dude is out there killing everyone in town. Good use of resources, right? It's here that the Strohs are clued in that their plan failed, and Mikey is still out there. He did not die in the fire. Well, so much for Laurie's 40-year in the making plan can't kill evil, as we will continue to learn over and over again. As the hospital is quickly filled with fresh corpses and worried citizens looking for lost loved ones, the law's resources are overwhelmed. Thusly, it's time for some good old-fashioned mob justice, as Allison and Cameron, along with our returning OGs, set off into the streets to hunt Michael down once and for all. Evil dies tonight, don't you forget it. Lindsay's crew finds some dumbass kids playing on a playground, and it just so happens that Mikey is already there too, but the kids don't think him a threat, calling him a pervert and stuff, clearly not realizing who they're dealing with, and see he's clutching their friend's bloody mask. And of course, all three are donned in the main trio of masks from Season of the Witch. Lindsay screeches for them to get out of there, but Mike first turns his sight on the car with the others. He hops up on the roof, and Marion starts wildly firing to no effect, and when coming face to face with Michael, tries to fire one more shot in Loomis's name, but uh-oh, the chamber's empty, so she gets stabbed to shit. Wow, thanks a lot for coming back, Marion, just to die like a moron. Jeez. The rest don't fare much better, with Dr. Love getting stabbed in the eye socket, and his wife, also not trained in handguns apparently, accidentally shoots herself in the face when Mikey knocks the door back. Double whoops. Man, these guys are some major bunglers. Lindsay at least gets in a good pummeling with the brick-filled pillow sack and manages to unmask Michael. This causes him to toss her aside, allowing her to escape, pausing for some reason at a nearby tree. What are you doing? Keep going. going, lady. He can definitely still see you there. There's like one tree and he's just right over there. She is able to hide long enough for Michael to lose interest and for Tommy and the others to rescue her. So hey, at least Lindsay makes it. Not even Michael can keep a Bravo housewife down. The crowd continues to grow even more unruly at the hospital. And once again, with our sheriff cowboy at a loss, it's up to the townsfolk to save the day. Although they prove their ineptitude almost immediately, as the other escaped patient is mistaken for Michael, even though they physically don't look similar at all whatsoever. But it's too late for the crazed crowd. They chase the helpless man through the hospital floors. Karen does try to step in to keep him safe from the mob, but ultimately he leaps from a high window to his death. And it's only when looking at his twitching, gored body on the ground do people finally stop chanting "Evil dies tonight." They're all, yeah, we totally blew it. Were you chanting "Evil dies tonight"? No, I mean, I only joined in because you did, but man, I kind of do feel like a dick now. Got an innocent man killed, what are you gonna do? I mean, that is the whole point, as obvious as it is, showing how terrible and out of control vigilante justice can become. Just still a little silly and heavy-handed, you know? Even Sheriff Brackett comes up and very blatantly states that he's turning us into monsters. I mean, really? Okay. Lori doesn't want to be left out, getting to her feet thanks to a self-injection of pain medicine. Oh, I'm sure she's fine after being literally torn open hours ago. But after beating up a random doctor, her injuries take over. It's back to bed, where she reminisces with Hawkins, who further elaborates on his own perceived guilt about what went down back in '78. Not only did he kill his partner like a moron, but when they were about to put Michael down, he pulled the gun away at the last moment. If he hadn't intervened, Michael would have probably been dead long ago. So, well, yeah, you know, when you put it that way, a lot of this is kind of your fault. He also breaks it to Lori that he doesn't actually care about her. There is no real motivation behind his killings as far as he's concerned, declaring him a 6-year-old boy with the strength of a man and the mind of an animal. And he's 63 years old, senior of doom. He considers what his partner told him about Mikey looking out the window, but perhaps he was actually looking in at his own reflection, not out. He figures out, along with Lonnie, Michael's ultimate destination, his old family home. He creeps, he kills, and he goes home. It's definitely been updated since the old days and is looking quite modern, now inhabited by the couple Little and Big John. They're both actually pretty amusing and were by far my favorite amongst Michael's lineup of victims. After a knock on the door, they think some prankster kids have returned, but it's Michael, back to his favorite lookout point. Little John gasping he came home before being dispatched. Big John soon follows after, getting stabbed in the armpit, another very weird jab thing. It's like, what weird places can I stab people, and with what weird things can I stab them with? Followed by getting his eyes gouged out. Lonnie, Cam, and Allison show up soon after, and Lonnie foolishly decides to go in first, and you can imagine how that goes. Hearing a gunshot, they enter the home, and find the John's body posed together in a loving tableau with a romantic record on. Oh, see, Mikey is sentimental. He does know what true love is. It's just weird that he spent the time to set up this little display for the others to discover. That's what's interesting to me. What is that all about? Mike shoves Allison down the stairs, and Cam gets absolutely messed up and probably the most uncomfortable, drawn-out kill of the entire film. I mean, he just keeps mashing his head back and forth, back and forth. She tries to goad him to come down to get her, but he relishes the kill before finally stalking after her. Just in the nick of time, Karen surprises him with a pitchfork poke and removes his mask, luring him away to a trap with Tommy and the gang. Everyone beats the hell out of him, and it's brutal once more. Treated the exact same way that Michael treats his victims, which again I think is the whole point, and you actually kind of feel bad for Michael here, which is definitely strange considering what he's been up to tonight. He finally stops moving, and Tommy is confident that he's done for, but Karen elects to give him a final jab in the back, though I would have appreciated her actually just like straight up brutally like decapitating him, and blood all over her Christmas sweater, and you're like, holy shit, Karen, you've gone off the deep end. That would have been cool, but I get that. Again, we got a whole nother movie to go. You can't actually permanently kill him. We, just like Lori, know that it seems that it's not that easy to kill old Michael. She theorizes that she thought he was indeed flesh and blood, but he couldn't possibly be mortal. Perhaps the idea is that the more he kills, the more impossible to defeat he becomes. Fear is the true curse of Michael Myers, as it will always live on. Simple brute force will never stop him for good. Right on cue, Mikey shoots awake despite suffering more than enough injuries to take out any human man, and promptly lays waste to his would-be attackers. Tommy is the last to get a taste, getting stabbed in the gut, and then has his precious bat, old Huckleberry, turned against him. Once again, yeah, a lot of good this whole thing did ya. Could have just moved to Cleveland in the 80s, been done with it, but no. Unable to do much beyond watch, Laurie sets up things for their next and presumably final battle. If they don't stop him tonight, maybe they'll find him tomorrow, or the next Halloween. When the sun sets on someone alone, they'll know he'll be there. The authorities have flooded the Myers house, and Karen oddly decides to go upstairs and have a look at his favorite window. Up there, Michael appears and relentlessly attacks her. So what, he snuck by the entire police force and everything, went through the back door or something? What the hell is going on here? With Karen down, Laurie leaves us with one final purposeful stare, knowing she'll be waiting for him next time. Apparently there was one last scene that ended up cut out of the theatrical print because it was found to fit more into the story of the third. I have no idea what that will be, but apparently we will see exactly what it is in the upcoming Blu-ray cut. Perhaps this additional scene would have helped the ending feel maybe a little more final, because it's just kind of like, yep, and it's over. See you next year, chumps. As we know, next Halloween and Halloween Ends, this new trilogy comes to a conclusion, closing a chapter on the franchise once more. Before we get to that, when it comes to Karen's fate, I can actually see her surviving the attack, as it really feels more like a big shock to end things until next time. Oh no, not Karen! But Mikey only kind of slashes at her hands and stuff like that. There's no definitive stab in the eyeball or anything like, oh, she's done for good. Generally, I would think that she was a goner, but after Hawkins' miraculous survival, anything not made definitive could be easily undone. So don't necessarily count Karen out in part 3, despite how it appears here. When it comes to what we know so far, unlike Kills, End will feature a 4-year time jump and even address the pandemic for some reason, again inserting weird somber elements that don't really have any right to be in there. But hey, maybe Michael will finally get his dues for being COVID safe for 40 plus years. My major concern with the finale is the ability to do something unexpected with it. It almost feels like they've kind of painted themselves in a corner for things to turn out as Laurie suggested, that she has to die for Michael to die. It really seems like that's the only way to actually complete the story as laid out. Everybody's dead and finally the evil is put to rest. So all I can do is hope that they have some surprises and unexpected beats up their sleeves, because Kills does not give me too much confidence in that regard. I wondered if after the end of this one, they might end up leaning a bit more into the potential supernatural side of things. Just how does Michael never die, you know? Especially by the end of this, I mean, he should definitely be dead, no question. The original series eventually expanded the story to explain how this worked, the Cult of Thorn and all that jazz, he's basically immortal. I genuinely thought they might be hinting at something like that here, especially with Laurie's monologue about how the more he kills, he becomes less human and all that stuff, and whatever. Yet, director Gordon Green clarified that as far as he's concerned, Mikey is not supernatural, but more just an embodiment of evil. This is essentially the same concept of Michael, aka the Shape, as established in John Carpenter's original. Yes, he is a guy, but after he becomes a killing machine, there is no humanity left to him. He simply is evil incarnate. And as she says, you can't kill evil. Despite the number of those people uttering evil dies tonight, you can't really ever kill it for good, and I think that is kind of the whole point here. But let's go to the heart of the matter and see what Michael has to say about things. Wait, where'd he go? Mikey! Mikey boy! Oh, there he is, enjoying his favorite pastime, stalking around and trying to murder anyone in sight. Hey, Michael! Can you put the knife down for 5 minutes? We got stuff to do here, come on, man. Can he hear me, or he's looking at me? He's definitely looking at me. Oh, he's coming. All right, he's coming. Yeah, just take a seat right there, Michael. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I just had a couple of questions to ask, hoping to get to understand the man behind the mask, so to speak. Is that okay? Okay. So we know that you can speak, but you choose not to. So here's your platform to the world to say whatever you want. Okay then. Now for the big question on everyone's mind. If you have a motivation to kill, just what is it? All right, let's switch things up a little bit here. I'm gonna do kind of a word association thing, and you just say the first thing that pops into your head. Laurie Strode, Dr. Loomis, Judith Myers. What was that? I thought I heard. Oh, no? Okay, my mistake. How about Busta Rhymes? Does that ring a bell? Oh, yeah, see, your bloodlust's starting to come out there. Sorry about that. Yeah, maybe I should get you back to Haddonfield. There's more numbskulls you can kill there that aren't me, okay? Kill. Well, that about wraps it up for this Ending Explained on Halloween Kills. Hopefully Gordon and Co. can come up with a surprising and exciting finale in Halloween Ends next year. But even if it does wind up being a letdown, I'm sure it won't be too long until Michael comes back again in some form, as that's kind of the point too. You can't keep a good franchise down, especially if it keeps making money. Don't forget, before we go, you can send me requests for any movies or TV shows you'd like to see me explain by sending them my way on any of my social media accounts at FoundFlix. What did you guys think of Halloween Kills and its ending? What do you hope to see in the finale of the trilogy? Does Laurie have to die again? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Thanks for watching FoundFlix. See you next time.